I'm at Talon Guitar Works. I'm a repair facility in Southwest Florida. I also do some OEM builds, although I haven't done some in a while. We're in the process of putting a new building up that's in the plan stage still. I'm getting ready to get my concrete scheduled to be poured, and then the steel sided building, and then electricity. And by, I'm guessing, the end of August, beginning of September, we're going to be up and running. Until then, I'm doing the repair work out of my garage. One of the most popular things that seems to happen right now and with my customers is replacing saddles. Now, if you've got a Fender style guitar and you have these Frito style either cast or stamped saddles that Leo Fender did, you may want to replace those. And one of the reasons is the bridge height or saddle height adjustment screws can be brutal on your hand when you're resting your hand on that saddle on the bridge. And these were designed in the 50s. And Leo wasn't a guitar player, but he was an engineer and a machinist. And one of the guitar players came in and said, look, the string height adjustment stuff is great, but we have to be able to intonate every string. So Leo designed the Frito saddle, went into the back, stamped out 6, and threaded them and put them on the guitars. And there's your intonation screw with the spring on it. And this is the way it went. Now, Leo's first attempt at a tremolo, which is actually a vibrato, but that's an argument for another video. The tremolo that Leo initially designed was a failure, and it was because the bridge didn't move and the block did. So there was a problem with it coming back into tune. So the synchronized tremolo, where the saddles and the block are all connected to each other on that bridge, was a much better design with the spring design. So as time progressed, people said, these saddles, they're good, but they ain't great. Now they were, pretty special when they first came out. But I agree, and I've changed mine over on my Mexican Strat and on my American Deluxe. Well, my American Deluxe came with block saddles. And a block saddle is something like this. It looks like a solid block of metal. Now, Fender Japan actually came up with these that were an improvement on the Frito saddle for a while, and they did some experiments on some different saddles. Now, there's one tool you're going to need, and you can get it anywhere. You can get it at Sears, you can get it at Ace Hardware, you can get it at Harbor Freight, you can get it at StuMac, and it's a digital caliper. And it's got to be able to read in millimeters. And the reason you ask is these saddles, these brass ones, come in 2 sizes. They come in 10.5 millimeter and 10.8 millimeter. They look identical. Now, I'm not talking about the offset saddles that are on some Fenders. These are center post, center intonation screw saddles, but they are 2 different sizes. They're 10.4 and 10.5 and 10.8 millimeters. Now, what that does is if you have a 2 1/16 string spacing on your guitar, and it doesn't matter where the guitar was built, it just matters what the string spacing is. If it's 2 1/16 string spacing, you probably need the 10.4 saddles, or 10.5 millimeter saddles, excuse me. If you have 2 3/16 string spacing, you're going to need the 10.8 millimeter saddles. And they're going to be close. And when they say this, they say 10.8 and 10.5. They're within a couple hundredths of that. They're machined and they're milled and everything, but they're not exactly 10.5 and exactly 10.8. What you want them to do, though, is sit side by side where they're not binding against each other, and they give your string a straight path from the saddle to the nut, which is going to increase your tuning stability. Now, also, I'm going to say this, and go ahead and shoot me if you want, but a brass saddle is going to produce a little bit better tone than the stamped or cast saddle that came previous to it. And I think you're going to like the brass saddles better. Now, these little jokers right here, right from Fender, are $19 a set of 6, all the way up to $61. I do not know what is so special about those. But these brass saddles that came out of, initially I was buying them out of South Korea, and there's a lot of vendors online with them. These are anywhere between $13 to $18, depending on when you catch them. And usually when I buy them, I buy 4 or 5 sets at a time of both sizes, because I never know what I'm going to need in the shop. And I put about 20 of these on per year. Now this year I've only put on about 6, but for those of you who know me, I had some medical issues in November, and I had to recover from that. And then we did the move, and we're getting ready for the shop. So things have slowed down a little bit. We're still getting quite a bit of work done in the shop. But this will answer your question. How not to screw up ordering the right saddle for your Strat style trem bridge. And that spacing is going to match up, so there are holes in the back of your tremolo on the bridge. And these saddles screws, the intonation screws, will match up, and they'll fit in there perfectly if you get the right ones. So all you got to do is get a little digital caliper that reads in millimeters, and you could spend a lot of money and get a really good one, or you could spend a little money and get a good one, and they're still going to probably read the same thing if they're calibrated. So go ahead and check that out. I said earlier, and I don't want you to believe that the size of the string spacing or the size of the saddle makes a difference in the quality of the guitar. It doesn't. They've been all over the board since Leo Fender developed them. The 10.5s were on the Americans, and then the 10.8s were on the Mexicans, and then the 10.5s were on the Mexicans, and the 10.8s were on the Americans, and the Japanese ones had another one, and they had one where the springs went under the pickups and didn't have a cavity in the back. So it's been all over. It doesn't matter. My American Stratocaster is 2 1/16 string spacing. My Mexican is 2 3/16, and my girlfriend's left-handed Squire Strat, made in Indonesia, is 2 7 1/28. So that's the string spacing on them. It is what it is. Now my Paul Reed Smith S2, made in USA, is also 2 3/16. So that's kind of like a popular thing, but you got to get the right size saddle blocks if you're going to put them in, and you're not going to have a headache. You're going to say, these things don't fit, I should have got the other ones, or I should have got the offset ones, which isn't going to make you happy either, because they have to go in there. And remember, Fender made about, over the years, at least 4 different Telecaster bridges and at least 5 different Stratocaster bridges that have different lengths, different setbacks, and everything else going on with them. And if you try to put one in a guitar that isn't routed correctly for it, you'll find out real fast. If you look back at the old video of me doing that set neck Telecaster that I put together, that took a fixed style Strat bridge, not a Telecaster bridge. It wouldn't fit. So this is Tom at Talon Guitar Works. Remember, only half my ideas are any good. You got to decide which half, and stay tuned. Give me some remarks in the comment section. I'll try to always answer those. And I'm not sponsored on this, so you're just going to get my opinion. Salty, old, and crusty, and that's what we got. So I hope you're having a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye.